Alright, so now we're going to be talking about simplifying complex fractions. Okay, so we were just talking about how we can add and subtract, rational expressions. Now we're going to be talking about how we can go about simplifying complex fractions. Okay, so you may be looking at this problem and you may be saying, well, this looks really confusing. However, it's not bad. Alright, what you want to do when you're trying to simplify these complex fractions is break this down into parts. Okay? So again, there's a lot going on here, there's a lot of operations, break it down into parts. So looking at our numerator here, right? I'm going to work on simplifying down this numerator first, and then we'll go back to the entire problem. Okay, so just pretend the denominator is not here, okay, and we're just going to look at this top part. So we have 2x, 2 over x, plus x over 4, right? Well, that's going to be addition, right? So we have addition, and we have two fractions, so we're going to have to get the same common denominator, right? So if we want to add fractions, we need the same common denominator. Well, here I have an x, here I have a 4. We need to get the same common denominator. So what could we use here? Okay, well, we could use 4x, right? Well, in order to do that, think what needs to happen here. If we're going to use 4x as our common denominator, that means I have to multiply both the top and the bottom of this fraction by 4. Okay? Here, I'm going to have to multiply this entire fraction, top and bottom, by x. And that will give me a common denominator of 4x. Okay, so doing that, looking at this here, I'm going to multiply both the top and bottom by 4. So this will be 8 all over 4x. Okay, plus, well, here we said we're going to multiply by x. So now we'll have x squared, okay, all over 4x. Okay. So at this point, we can see that we have the same common denominator. So what we can do is add the numerator. So we're going to go ahead and do that. So we'll have, I'm just going to rewrite this, going from highest power to lowest, we'll have x squared plus 8, and this will all be over our common denominator, which is 4x. Okay? Okay, let's go back now to the original problem, and what I'm going to do, since we just determined what this was, I'm going to rewrite this. Okay? So we have x squared plus 8 all over 4x, x squared plus 8 all over 4x. Okay, now let's work on simplifying this down. So what do we need to do here? Okay, well, we have two fractions being divided, right? Two fractions being divided. So what do you do if you have two fractions and you're doing division? So for example, let me rewrite this just using letters. If you had a over b divided by, I don't know, c over d, okay, how would you perform this operation? Well, based on our rules of fractions using division, we would keep, change, and flip. So this would be a over b times d over c. Alright? Same thing is going to apply here. Okay, don't get confused just because there's more terms. You're still doing the same operation. So we're going to keep this, we're going to change this to multiplication, and we're going to flip this last fraction. Okay? So essentially what we have here, and let's do this in another color, we'll have x squared plus 8, x squared plus 8 all over 4x. Alright, so that's what we're keeping. We're changing this to multiplication, and we're flipping this last fraction. So x all over x plus 1. Okay? Alright. Now, what you want to do here, let's go ahead and just do this out. So when we do this out, we'll get x cubed, and we'll get plus 8x. Okay, and this will all be over 4x squared plus 4x. Okay. So let's take a look now at what we can do here. So taking a look here, if we look at it, can we go further with this? Can we cancel something out? Alright, so let's see what I can do here. if I pull out an x here, let's see what happens. So if I pull out an x on the numerator, I'll have x, and then I'll have x squared plus 8. I can also pull out an x on the denominator. I'll have x, and then I'll have 4x plus 4. Well, look what happens here. I have an x on both the top and the bottom, meaning I can cancel this out. Okay? When I cancel that out, I'll get a final answer of the following. So my final answer here is going to be x squared plus 8 all over 4x plus 4. And this here is our final answer. Okay, so that is how you go about simplifying complex fractions.